Welcome back to Unwinding Roads. My name is Teddy, and behind me is my brand new 2022 Jeep Gladiator Sport Eco Diesel. And starting a new build, I'm here today to talk to you guys about this area right here. If you've been overlanding and off-roading for a while, or if you're just getting started, you probably have something back there or are planning to get something back there, either a rack, a cap, or one of them new camper where the tent is connected to the cap part. So I have to make a decision on which one I'm going to be getting for this rig. And to be honest, I don't know which. So we're gonna weigh the pros and cons on each one and figure out which one's best for me. And during the process, hopefully we find out which one is best for you. So we actually have 4 options that are able to go on here. One of them is the rack, just like I had on my previous Gladiator. The second one is the cap with the tent on top of it. Third one is the cap and the tent combined. And lastly, we have the flat deck or full bed replacement option. So we're gonna go over all 4 of them, pros and cons on each one, and help decide.
I took this opportunity to visit our friends at BF Campers to help start this journey. BF Campers sells all of these options, and I was able to take a good look at them firsthand. The camper style tent comes with MOLLE panels on the doors to mount your gear, as well as a ladder to get upstairs from the inside. The owner of BF Campers himself runs the flat deck system on his personal Gladiator.
So the cool thing about flat decking it is everything is going to be accessed from the sides. So when this opens up, you got everything right here. On the back, that's where your spare tire would go. So you got rooms for everything. And also, and this is huge for Gladiators especially, I noticed, this is fully sealed. So dust proof, waterproof. The stuff doesn't get dirty in here. Whereas I noticed with the Gladiators, even when you do seal the tailgate, there is still dust getting back there. Not nearly as much as the rack and my current setup, of course, which is just wide open, but it does still get in there. Whereas with this, completely sealed. You got your ladder in there? So I just got extremely lucky. I really wanted to see what one of these caps looks like on a Gladiator. And sure enough, BF Campers just finished installing one on a Gladiator. So I was talking to the new owners. They explained to me that they really wanted something that they could sit inside. You know, when it gets really stormy outside, they don't want to go outside to get back into the tent. They could just do it all from the inside. I mean, makes sense to me. Alright, so I'm going to start with the one that I'm most comfortable talking about, which is the rack. Because I had it on my 2020 Gladiator, that's the one I'm the most comfortable talking about. With the racks, first of all, they're the lightest option. Second of all, I find that they're the most modular. So you can put the pieces wherever you want, you can move them around wherever you want. I personally had mine, there's like a flat plate. I had it as high as possible so that I could still reach in and grab things from inside of the bed and pull them out, whether it was a bag or a table or whatever it was. I was able to bring it out the side. It's super light. My rack only weighed about 50 pounds. It was made out of aluminum, and I personally believe that it looks the best. It's my favorite one of the bunch. Also, because it's so light, I can easily manage it myself. So if I ever have to take it down or put it on for whatever reason, it's something that I can do by myself. I don't need help to do it. Now, because it's easily accessible for me, it also makes it easily accessible to thieves. Simple things like stopping at a store, running in and out. You always have to worry about a thief just running in, grabbing something and taking off on you. Another problem is because it's so open, it constantly gets everything wet and muddy and dusty. All your gear, many times I would get home, I'd have to take my gear out and hose it all off, let it dry, and then bring it inside. Which brings me to my other con. All the gear just can't stay in here. You have to take it out every time. Would be a lot nicer if the gear could just live in there. Which brings us to the next one, which would be the cap and tent. So next up is the cap with the tent on top. The nice thing about this is everything can live inside. It's all locked up. Nobody can get to it unless they have the key or a screwdriver or something that they can break in with. But they probably won't because out of sight, out of mind, they don't know if anything's even in there. Also, if you have the tent and the cap separated, it's easy to replace either one of those options. Another nice option about being able to replace the tent is you can get a tent that can store your bedding, so you don't have to have another tote or something to keep your bedding in. You could just store it in the tent. So far, I haven't seen that option available in the cap and the tent combined. The cons for this setup, well, it's the heaviest of the bunch and it's probably the most expensive because you're buying two separate pieces instead of one. Because of that, while you're upstairs, you can't access anything downstairs. You always have to get into the tent from the outside. So things like that could be a little bit annoying. I'd say the weight probably being the most annoying of the bunch. Which brings us to the next one, which is the cap connected to the rooftop tent, or the camper style. More and more people seem to be leaning towards that style, which is great. You can access everything from the inside, just go straight up from the inside. If you have a dog like myself, your dog can sleep downstairs, you can sleep upstairs. Everything is locked and put away. But the major con to these is, as well as the cap, is sometimes you have a little bit of a lip here, and it just makes it a little bit more difficult to reach in and get things. Some of these even have bars that go across here, stabilization, and to reinforce it, and that means you can't get stuff out very easy. Now when I'm on the trail, I tend to get stuck a lot, so I want quick access to my traction boards, stuff like that, which again brings me back to the rack. Everything is easy to get to. And again, with this style, just like the cap, you don't have to be taking things in and out of your home. Everything can live inside of your cap, so when it comes time for camping, you're ready to go. Everything is in there, stays dry, fairly clean. The con to these ones is, especially on a Gladiator, even if you weather seal the tailgate, dust still tends to get inside. Of course, not as much as it would be with a rack. Also with this one, and maybe I'm just being weird about this, is the mattresses are in cubes or blocks or whatever. Now I've slept on a trailer table where they have those mattresses like that, and in the middle of the night I find my elbow getting between those mattresses and it wakes me up. I'm uncomfortable. I haven't experienced it in the setup that we're talking about, so maybe I'm just being weird about it. I'm sure it's fine, but something to think about. Lastly, we have the flat deck. So the best thing about the flat deck is it actually does waterproof and dustproof the stuff inside. It's fully sealed. On top of that, there's no reaching in anywhere. It ends up being a flat deck, and you have all the things right here. In the BF Campers video, you can see that he's got the slide out fridge. He's even got a kitchen setup that just comes right out. So there's no reaching in or anything like that. It does look pretty cool, but it is a big commitment to remove the bed. Now I personally like the look of the flat deck, but someone made a joke once and now it's kind of stuck in my head that it starts to look like a service truck. So because of that joke, I can't really see it anymore without seeing a service truck, which sucks because I originally do like the look of it. And so here's the factors you're gonna have to think about: weight, price, how it looks, and functionality. When you're going through all of them, price-wise, the rack makes the most sense. Other than that, the flat deck works out to be about the same price as a cap and a tent. I would say the cap and tent is probably the most expensive because you're buying two separate things. It also weighs the most. But again, it gives you that versatility. If you want to change your tent down the road, you're able to do that. The camper style, price-wise, is pretty expensive. It's the second most expensive option. But I also think it's durable, keeps your stuff clean. There's a reason why everybody seems to be leaning that direction. Functionality, I have to give it to either the rack or the flat deck. Getting at things quickly when you need it, when you get to camp, you just want to be able to get your stuff and move on. Or, for example, if you get stuck, you just want to be able to grab your traction boards and get out. You don't want to be digging through things to get at that stuff. Also with the flat deck, you're sealing it all in. There is no dust, there is no water that's getting in there. Absolutely none. So everything stays nice and clean. BF Campers has a setup where you've got your fridge pull out and you've got your kitchen pull out as well. And it's all level. Anyways guys, the rain's really starting to come down. Please leave a comment, let me know which option I should go with, which option you most likely would go with, and why. Because maybe there's something I'm missing. I honestly can't decide at this point which one I'm gonna go with. I'm leaning towards the rack again, only because of weight. Like I said, weight is very important for this build. I have a bunch of stuff that's coming up in an upcoming video, so subscribe because you're gonna see something that's not out on the market yet. And I'm gonna be one of the first, if not the first, person to be running such product. And of course, adventure videos. That's what we're doing this for. We're building this up for adventure. So make sure you subscribe. We're gonna be hitting those trails very soon. I actually think I'm gonna be doing a day trip before I install anything else. Test out these lockers, test out everything else. There is a full build video coming out on my rig, so you'll see it soon. Until next time, go away, get lost, and unwind.